Hey guys. So, as you may have read on my blog, I'm really interested in how independent scientists can contribute to improving biosecurity. One of the things that I used to do on my blog is trying to modify and measure DIY air purifiers like the Corsair Rosenthal box. But I wanted to do something a bit different today. One of the things I've been looking at in some detail is UV and far UVC to use as light to deactivate pathogens. Now, the issue with trying to work with pathogens as an independent scientist is that it's dangerous and pretty much not allowed. However, you can use safe bacteria like yeast. So, for this experiment, I wanted to test if UV light could kill yeast that you can get in a store that you can use to bake bread. And to do that, I needed to figure out a way that I could culture the yeast at home on agar plates. Now, I've never done this before since I'm not a biologist by training, and I'm really grateful to David Jordan at Living Physics for lending me some equipment as well as giving me advice and supervision on this topic. Okay, so I have around a liter of water here. Now I got 10 grams of just regular granulated sugar. I'm dissolving the sugar into the water. Now I'm boiling this for a few minutes to just sterilize. Now that this has cooled down, I've put 10 milliliters of sugar water into this test tube. So this is the amount of baker's yeast that I'll be using, and I'm going to put it inside the tube. So now I put this in the tube. I'm going to shake it up a bit. So right now we have some yeast in 10 milliliters of sugary water. We still have a problem though. It's too concentrated, and if I try to grow it on an agar plate, it's going to just form a lawn of yeast cells. What you really want is to reduce the concentration such that it forms countable amounts of colonies, which look like individual spots that I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason why you want to be able to count them is so that in the future I can measure the reduction in the count if I do anything to the yeast cells, like blast them with UV. So to do this, what I need to do is basically have a range of different concentrations so that I could find the sweet spot. To make a range of different concentrations, I use a technique called serial dilution. What this involves is you take your original concentration, you dilute it tenfold, you then take some of that diluted concentration, and then you diluted it another tenfold more. And I do this 4 times so that I have 5 concentrations. The original concentration, the 1 part to 10 concentration, the 1 part to 100 concentration, the 1 part to 1,000, and then 1 part to 10,000. And I'm hoping that out of all of these concentrations, I'll be able to come up with a base concentration that gives me a countable amount of yeast colonies, and I'll then use I'll then use that concentration to do my experiments on. So to dilute the previous concentration from the original to 1 to 10, I now have just 9 milliliters of just the sugar water, and I'm gonna put in 1 milliliter of the stock with the grains of yeast inside, so that the ratio is 1 to 10. So I took in 1 milliliter from the stock with the yeast, and this is 9 milliliters of just sugar water. And now I'm gonna put that in to get a 1 to 10 concentration. Okay. Okay, so I repeated the process another 2 times. So I put 1 milliliter from this into and added 9 milliliters of sugar water to get 1 to 1,000. And I took 1 milliliter of that to 9 milliliters of this to get 10,000. Okay, so I sterilized some cotton swabs in boiling water. So now I am going to take the solution and swab it onto these agar jelly plates. So I'm going to start with the stock first. I'm just doing a zigzag motion on the jelly and then rotating it like this. So you get an even line. And then I'm going to invert it so that the agar is on top. Okay, so here's the final setup. So this is the stock, 1 to 10, 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, 1 to 10,000. I'm just leaving it out here for a couple days, and we will see what I get by the end of this. I also have the concentrations here, so that when I figure out which one actually works, I'll use that for the experiment.